Manifestation Receipts. I am Neil Larthos. I am the next Abdullah, and on this channel we're gonna make you the next Neville Goddard, okay? And it's videos like this where I give my own success stories, my own manifestation receipts, showing you where I've used the law and how it can work for you. So this story is about how I manifested one of the many SPs out of the Infinity Gauntlet. Okay, now obviously we're not going to use her real name, but because it's very annoying to constantly say SP, 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 we're going to call her Tiki. Okay, see how annoying that gets. So this one, like many of my SPs, was at work. Okay, sue me. And this woman, when she started working with us, she was that lady where all the guys would look at her. All the guys wanted her number. All the guys were, as a lot of the young kids like to say, simping for her upon her arrival, right? And she was new and yada, yada, yada. And she was getting all the attention of the guys. Now, at the time that she started working with me, I was still getting into the law. But even still, the first time I saw her, despite the fact that I knew what type of a woman she was, I didn't robotically affirm. I didn't do a fucking sat session every single night, putting candles in the pentagram. No. All I remember is that when I saw her, I just had this feeling of, oh yeah, I can have her. Easy work, right? And to be fair, to be 100% transparent, when she started working with me, it was during a time where I was already dating around with multiple women. So I was really feeling myself, right? I was in this state of abundance. So I didn't even have to try. I naturally embodied the state of the guy who could manifest this SP easily. Tiki was mine right away. I was going to try to make a rhyme, but I just realized I picked the fucking worst name ever. So I literally just had that intuition. She's mine. This is easy. I can get a girl like her like that. And I know it sounds kind of disgusting the more that I say it, but I'm just telling you this because I know a lot of you bastards are disgusting yourself. So, you know, this is going to work for you, you dogs. I went along with work, not even trying to talk to her. Matter of fact, I never approached this woman. I never even did the whole, hey, so how you're liking the new job, huh? You like your new coworkers? They're treating you right? I didn't even try any of that. None of that. Okay? And I'm going to be real with you. As much as I like to shit on the red pill, one of the things that I have always kept with me in my game is to not be overly thirsty, to not chase so much. Because look, I'm all about, you guys know in my videos, I'm all about self-pedestalization, okay? And when you're saying that you're God, and when you're saying that everywhere you go, they lay the fucking red carpet for you, and that you're the most important guy in the room, and that your SPs have life-size posters of you on their wall that they pray and bow down to every single night, what the hell am I doing chasing her? What the hell am I'm doing trying to obtain her validation, right? So again, I was already in the state of being that guy without even trying, okay? So I would not talk to her. I would not try to get close to her or nothing. I just simply focused on my work while all the other guys were chasing her, right? And she noticed this, okay? But one thing that she definitely was really attractive, okay? She was Latina. She's probably already watching this. Great, she's gonna expose my ass. Well, actually, I hope I don't get so famous. Well, now I'm gonna be famous, because whatever you are afraid of is gonna happen. Fuck, now I got 2 million subscribers. But the point is, she was a Latina, okay? And I love all ethnicities: black, Asian, white, fucking purple, you know, hazelnut, blue, whatever the fucking ethnicity is. If you're a woman, I love you, okay? But in this case, she was one of those Latinas, spicy, sexy. I knew that, okay? But again, I wasn't chasing. All I remember in regards to techniques is, like I said, I had that intuition, but the only other time I visualized was, I even remember clearly, I remember one time I was in the shower, okay? And you guys know how it is when you're in the shower. You're either very relaxed, stressed because you're on your way to work, or you're fucking horny. And I pretty sure you guys can imagine which one I was. All I remember is having this idea that we were going to make out in the parking lot one day after work. And again, it wasn't forced. It wasn't like, I'm going to go in my SOT session now, let me get my lucky pair of shampoo bottles. No, I was just simply fucking horny and just thinking, like, what if, right? No force, no, nothing, okay? All I did was I had that thought. And fast forward to about a few weeks later, and she started asking me for help with things that you know damn well that she already knew the answer to. Okay, it's the restaurant business, so, you know, asking questions about the menu when she was already working there for 2 months. When I was helping her at the register, my arm would accidentally, or whatever you want to call it, call my lawyer, or not accidentally, bumping into her chest, and there was no backing away whatsoever. As a matter of fact, she would only lean in closer. And it eventually got to the point where it was very clear that she liked my attention. So one thing led to another, and because she started making it very clear, based on the fact that she would get close to me and make all these weird excuses to talk to me, we started talking. One thing led to another, and our first kiss, after all this build-up, after all this foreplay, ended up in, ding, 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 you guessed it, the exact same location that I saw in my visualization, okay? Now, as I'm saying this story to you, I got to be real with you. It's probably one of the most boring success stories that you can ever imagine. I don't know if it's because my storytelling skills are not the best, but this wasn't one of those, you know, success stories of manifesting an SP where, like, me and a girl broke up and I was heartbroken and she moved to Iran, and next thing you know, we bump into each other in Baghdad and now she's bagging my dad. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't one of those things, okay? It was simply the law working without me even knowing it. Because remember, I already had other girls on the side, okay? I wasn't trying to get an ex back. I didn't have a huge crush on her and was hoping that she would say hello and hoping to get the digits. No. And you see, that's where you kind of wanted to get to, is where your love story is almost borderline dull, boring, where it's just like, fuck, dude. I mean, that's it. You know, because a lot of us want to put the SP on the pedestal, but you are God. During that time period where all the guys were simping for her at work and all the guys were telling her that they fucking were watching Rampage in the movies, or what was it, the Minecraft movie, I think it was. And they're like, oh yeah, do you like that scene? And you could just see the fucking look on her face, like if, she was about to die, right? It's like, bro, read the fucking room. What are you doing, bro? But while that was going on, and while she was expecting for me to simp, not only was I not doing it, but I wasn't coming at it from this place of, I'm gonna back away and avoid her to try to make her chase me. I didn't even give a shit. I didn't even care, because all I knew is that I already had so much going on in my life that I didn't care which way it went. Now, this all happened without even trying. This all happened by accident, if you will. But you can still use the exact same techniques, whatever you want to call it, the same method that I used to manifest this woman, consciously, on purpose. So if we look at the components of how I did it, the first moment I saw her, I already had the mindset of, getting a girl like this is easy for me. Even though I knew that in the 3D's eye, she was perceived as this very hot girl that all the guys wanted. But because my confidence was through the roof, it seemed easy for me. So then, wouldn't it be that working on self-concept would do the trick? Because if I tried to affirm, and if I tried to visualize, but I didn't have that baseline of that feeling that getting a girl like her, despite the fact that all the guys want her, a girl like her still comes easy to me. Well, where does that come from, right? The confidence. Well, where can you get that confidence if you don't have that confidence right now? Self-concept. And like I've always said, the easiest way to get confidence is to not look smacks, is to not work on your social skills, but is to work on your God skills. Understand that you are God. What does it mean that you are God? No, it doesn't mean you created the heavens and the earth. What it means is you are not the mind, you are not the body, you are just the observer of the mind and the body. And when you realize that the character that you've been playing your whole life, where you say you're not confident, where you say that every girl that is a 10 out of 10 is unachievable for you and you'd be lucky if you could get a 5, that is because one day, through your eyes, which are connected to your body, you saw that you got rejected, or you heard with your ears that somebody said you were not that attractive, or you saw on Instagram all the times that girls blocked you when you tried to shoot your shot. But the same guy that got blocked on Instagram for trying to shoot his shot, and the same guy who through his physical ears heard rejection, is the same guy that is just a character in the perception of the observer of that mind. So if I'm telling you that that's just a character that you've been playing your whole life, and that you are actually not the character that is being perceived from the mind and the body that I said that you aren't, well, congratulations. You now realize that you can choose another character. Now, the problem is when people hear that, they go, well, how can I choose another character? Well, then that's when I will tell you that you have to imagine it in your 4D, in your fourth dimension. But then someone's going to say, well, I just imagined it, but I'm still that ugly guy. Now I just got blocked by another girl on Instagram. But you see, that is what we are trying to tell you. First of all, even if you look in your 40 and imagine yourself as the guy who, like when I was manifesting Tiki unconsciously, if you look at yourself as a guy who could do that, the hottest girl at the gym or the hottest girl at work, you don't realize that all the things that you're seeing in your 3D, where that girl blocked you even after you did your 4-dimensional imagination, that is actually a reflection of an old assumption. because I guarantee you that you've been talking bullshit about your life more than just a week, more than just a fucking 5 months. Most likely, just look at your birthday. You're 35 years old, you're 29, you're 24, you're 22, you're 18. You've probably been doing it your whole life. So 18 years against that one little imaginational act that you just did last night? No, sir. Don't expect this to happen overnight. Now, again, it can. Some people, it really does happen overnight. It does. But for those people, most likely they were detached. But if you're getting blocked on Instagram, if you are so concerned about getting SP, most people who are trying to manifest an SP are not detached, because they are attached to an SP when they don't realize that the real SP is themselves. Okay? So, like I said, just because you don't see the results overnight does not mean that you didn't choose the new character. Choosing the new character is understanding that as long as it's going on in the 4D and you're asking yourself, what would the version of me who looks the same, who has the same job, who has the same zit on my forehead be like, feel like, think like, if the only difference was that they have my SP, and not in the talking stage of my SP, not in the honeymoon phase of my SP, but what would they be like if they already are in that established relationship with my SP? Excuse me. And again, make it clear that when you ask yourself this, when you imagine this, whether it's consciously, whether you are doing a sat session, whether you have the lights off, or whether you're driving on your way to work and you are imagining it, it doesn't fucking matter. You don't have to get in a theta state. Yes, that helps. But again, the more requirements, the more difficulties you try to put around your manifestations, the more difficult it's going to be to manifest. So, however way you do this, imaginally, try your best not to require any change on the external. Because remember, the more you try to change the external, the more you're going to put heavier weights on your load. And you're going to think you have to do. But the law is all about what you do in here, not what you do out there. Because remember, the kingdom of heaven is within. Within is right here in the brain, in the imagination. Christ resembles the Christ, the I am awareness, our imagination. The right hemisphere of the brain is where all our imagination exists. The Son is at the right hand of the Father. Does it make sense now? Okay. So, when you ask, what would the version of me be like, think like, feel like, if the only difference in my life is that I have that SP in an established relationship of my dreams? You could still be watching the same TV shows. You might still have the shitty job. But the only difference is that shitty job is not going to feel so shitty, most likely, because you have a hot babe waiting in your bed. Or you have a big date with your boyfriend, and this is already, your 6-month anniversary, right? When you brush your teeth, you feel more rejuvenated. On your way to work, you have a smile on your face, and hell, people are saying, well, you look different. Are you okay? Are you high? No, I'm just high on fucking life, right? Don't try to say, oh, well, I'm probably going to look more buff. I'm probably going to have more money. And you could manifest money, but manifest it if that's what you want. But don't listen to the limited beliefs that you've had your whole life, where if the red pill community says that only guys with big muscles can obtain a girl like that, well, then I'm going to have to do that. If that's what you believe, the only reason why that's going to be true and that you're going to have to do that is not because the red pill community is truth, but because that's the truth that you believe. Remember, you will not manifest what you want. You will manifest what you are. And if your beliefs are built on a foundation where that is your truth, then that is what you will see reflected. But change your belief into the fact that you can obtain all you want just by seeing it within. Because again, like I said, when you are manifesting, look, when I manifested Tiki, okay, it took about 2 months. And someone's going to say, well, probably because you weren't robotically affirming 50 million times a day. Well, first of all, fuck you, okay? And second of all, why does it have to happen overnight either ways, okay? When you see it in your imagination, when I was in the shower and I saw it in my imagination, even though it wasn't a forced visualization session, it almost felt real. Why? Because it was. You see, when I saw that image in my brain that we were making out in the parking lot, which ended up being the first time that we made out of our many times, I didn't leave the shower and go, oh, fuck, hopefully that happens. If it doesn't happen by next Wednesday, I'm gonna fucking lose it. No. I didn't even fucking think anything. And that's the way it has to be when you visualize. Although I will say that after you do visualize, one thing you could think is, instead of hoping that it happens, leave there and say, fuck, it already did. Just like the way we come home or we go home leaving the fucking date of our lives, or when we just fucking bagged a dime and it was like the greatest sex we had in years. That's the same way that I want you to feel even after you were in the line at the fucking DMV and you just imagine that you and SP kissed. And again, it doesn't have to be an 8K IMAX, 8K Ultra, okay, 3D Blu-ray. If you even fucking saw her, but yet for some strange reason her hair was blue or she looked like your dad, if your subconscious knew what the fuck was going on, guess what? You just kissed your SP. Because when I saw Tiki in my imagination, bro, it was fuzzy. I definitely saw her, okay? But you know when you have a memory and someone says, hey, do you remember when we were in first grade and we used to cheat on each other's, spelling tests? You don't fucking remember if the AC was on or how many boogers were in Billy's nose. No. Shit. I mean, you probably, a lot of times I'll say, didn't you used to sit right next to me? And they'll say, no, I was sitting all the way in the back. Where the fuck did you get that from? Yet are they going to say, okay, well, shit, that you never went to kindergarten then because you misplaced me in your imagination? No. You misplaced me in your memory? No. That's the way I saw it. It was a very fuzzy, memory-looking visual. But why all of a sudden, when we try to do visualizations, they now have to be in 4K? Why do they have to be in fucking IMAX? Dude, stop making these manifestations more difficult than they need to be. Okay? Manifest your SP just like Tiki. I am Neil Larthos. This is all that the I'm Awareness had to say. And I know you're going to be okay.